Shalom. So we're going to go through a process of meditation to get some understanding of happiness. Sometimes we are so confused in the way we use words, especially in this culture where things are more defined based on how we feel about them as opposed to what they actually are. So when you speak of happiness, what does that mean for you? When you say you are happy, to what do you attribute that happiness to? Happy is just the consciousness of your well-being, and based on how we relate things to our feeling, this is why we lose ourselves in opposites. For example, if I get this new marker, there's a feeling that arises, and I call that feeling happiness. But in actuality, is it happiness? No. What happens to this happiness if I lose this marker? Does that emotion go with it? Does happiness go because the marker goes? No. So what we're really confusing for happiness is what we call joy. Joy is when you acquire something, there's a feeling that comes with it. So getting this marker, it brings a feeling of joy. No, what happens when you lose this marker? What happens to the joy? What is on the opposite end? Let us go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 33, and verse 15. It says, "So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another." So again, I get this new marker, this new phone, this new car, this new house, this new job, this new clothes, whatever it is. Now I have this joyful feeling. Now what happens when I lose the car, the house, the job, whatever it is? This joy becomes, what is on the opposite end of joy? Sorrow. Joy and sorrow, they alternate, one against the other. Happiness is not the same thing, because happiness is not a feeling that comes and goes based on objects that come and go. Happiness is your own consciousness. It is part of your nature. It doesn't need objects to come in and to get out. It is what it is. It is the nature of your very existence. Like I said, it is the consciousness of your well-being. And once you always remember that, you will always be happy. Right? Now let's take this example. A person at work. You stick your pen in your hair. Right? Now you're doing other things. You forgot where you put your pen. Now, what happens when you are ready to use the pen to sign up your papers? What type of feelings start to come in? You start to get upset. You start to get frustrated. You start to have that feeling of can't be bothered. You start to throw things around. Because of what? You cannot find the object. So now sorrow creeps in. So now you're in this state of sorrow, and someone asks you, what is wrong? And you said, I just had my pen and I cannot find it. Now the person point and say, is it that pen that's in your hair? When you take out the pen, you find that you start smiling again and this sorrow goes away. So what is it showing you about happiness? Happiness is in the consciousness of your well-being. Once you can always remember your true state, your true essence, that is always there in the presence of objects or in the absence of objects. So it is not that the pen was somewhere else and then it came to you. The pen was always there. So is your spirit of happiness. It is always there. Once you remember that knowledge, you will always be happy. You will always be conscious of your well-being. Conscious enough to know that these different objects, they do not contribute to your happiness. They do not add or take away from your happiness. But they can alter your states of joy. So what you have to do is do what? Remove the power you give to these things, and the knowledge of saying these objects bring you happiness. No, the happiness was there before the object. The happiness has always been there. It never left. The objects, they add to your preferences. And because you are attached to these preferences, when they're no longer there, you get what? Miserable. You get sad. You get angry. But even in the midst of your anger, your sadness, your misery, guess what? Happiness was there. The pen is here. I forgot about the pen, where it is. I'm angry looking for it. But the pen was there. Through my anger, through my misery, through my confused state of mind, through my being frustrated, the happiness was there. It is not because it left. It is because I forgot the true happiness, my true nature. I forgot my own essence. So now what I'm doing, I'm now looking for my true nature in all these different objects. And I will never be happy because I get this marker now. When the marker drains or is dried, I cannot use it anymore. Guess what? I'm going to go back on a long search. Now I'm doing what? Let us go to the book of Psalms 23, verse 1. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." So, having the Most High, you will not lack anything. Once there is a sense of lack, once you forget the nature of the Most High, once you have that sense of lack, then by default, the mind is going to go look for it in all these different objects. This is why we pursue after all these different objects. We want a new job, we want a new house, we want a new relationship, we want a new car, we want a new chain, we want a new ring, we want a new phone. We want everything new. What is it that we really want out of these objects? There's only one thing: the emotion. Oh, I have the new iPhone. Guess what? It is the emotion that comes with the iPhone that I want. But emotions are not permanent. They come and go. So after a while, guess what? I'm going to be tired of this iPhone. I'm going to need something new. So it's the newness that I keep searching for emotions in. A new car, a new house. You can be in a small house where you're happy, peaceful with you, your husband or wife, and your children. And you're happy. And then you see this big house. You're in there and you're still not happy. But you do it to get the emotion that comes with it. And then that same emotion of joy does what? Turns into sorrow, because now you have this big house, but guess what? Now you cannot maintain the bills. Now the bank is sending you that they're gonna do the foreclosure for the home. Now some other person is gonna buy the home. The bank is reselling it, because that was not your happiness. Happiness is your true nature, and you have to come to this state of knowing, believing, and understanding to reside in that state of happiness. So whether you're in a small house or a big house, you're happy. Whether you have a new car or you don't have a car, you're happy. Whether you have a new relationship or you're not in a relationship, you're happy. All of these just revolve around the emotion. And once you stop going on that endless road to please that emotion, you now remain in a state of calm. You are not moved because you're experiencing some sorrows. You are not seeking for joy in something else to get rid of the sorrow. You are still okay with not being okay. You don't seek to put an end to those different states that you're going through, your sorrows, your sadness, your depression. You don't try to use objects to put an end to it. Because let us think about this happiness for a moment. Let's go to the state of a baby. When a baby is crying for an object, right? And you give him the object, the crying stops. What is the real cause behind this? Is it the object that makes the baby happy? Is it the objects that make the baby happy? No. And it's the same for the adult. It is not the objects that are making you happy. What is really happening on the internal is that the mind, meaning the desires, become a little bit quiet. So you say you want a marker, you got a marker. The mind is not seeking for other objects yet. It is a bit quiet. But as soon as the baby gets tired of this toy, guess what? The mind goes lacking again, wanting something different. So even though he has the marker, he starts crying, right? Now he wants a headset. You give him the headset, he stops crying. He gets tired of it. Now he wants this thing. And it goes on. If there's no ending, because objects cannot bring you internal happiness. All these people in the world, and they're searching only for one thing: happiness. Have you ever experienced this happiness that you're seeking before? Where did it go? When you go back to that same place where you first found it, did you go and find it again there? No, you don't. Because it is not the objects that is bringing that happiness. It is the silencing of your mind. Once your thought becomes quiet, like when you're going to sleep, you experience that peace. Happiness, you're not disturbed. Your mind is not disturbed with a thought, a desire. That is what happiness is, your true nature. And once you can maintain that knowing and integrate it by not seeking for objects, not trying to avoid your discomforts, not trying to seek for fulfillment in objects. True happiness is the consciousness of your well-being. And this is why you see, when you meditate on the scriptures, it lifts your spirit. What is it that is arising? It is that knowing, that spirit, that consciousness. And this is how you become conscious of your well-being. You meditate on the scriptures, guess what? You experience that happiness, and there's no objects there. It is just knowing. and that knowing in another form is the happiness. Happiness has nothing to do with objects. It's not related to objects. The fact that you can read this word of the Most High increase your knowingness, and you experience that happiness or peace, that state of peace. Because what? Now your true nature is coming forward. Now that light is shining through the midst of adversaries, your anger, your misery, your sadness, your depression. Happiness is the consciousness of your well being. It is not something that is acquired through objects, it is always there. Shalom.